Good morning. I'm Christina Newhill, and I chair the direct practice concentration in the MSW program. I also coordinate the mental health certificate, which is one of several certificate options, as Professor Coghill indicated, that direct practice students can choose from. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to tell you about the curriculum, so you'll have a better understanding of what courses you'll be taking, the purpose of those courses, so you have a sense of what would lie ahead of you if you choose to come here to the school. Now, as Professor Coghill mentioned, the first courses that you take are a group of courses that we call the foundation classes. And as she mentioned, if you are advanced standing, of course, you don't take these classes in the MSW program because the content is covered in the bachelor's program. So if you're advanced standing, you can, play with your phone or something while I go over this. And if you are part-time, you will be taking these courses over a longer period of time. And I'd like to urge all of you to take a look at the MSW program handbook, which is located on our website, and everything is laid out there and can often answer questions that you may have after the session today. So I'm going to be speaking as if you're a full-time, regular, non-advanced standing student, and here's what you will be doing your first semester. So you'll be taking in the foundation curriculum 2 practice classes, and by that you will be learning skills for actually working directly with clients. And both direct practice students and COSA students take these courses together. And so all of the foundation classes cover all levels of practice, from the micro to the macro. So the first practice class is the Foundation of General Social Work Practice. And I'm particularly attached to this class because I taught it for 11 years. I think it's a very important class because it teaches you the foundation skills that you're going to be using throughout your career. And it's important to learn these basic skills because it's like building a house. If you don't have a strong foundation, you may have a wonderful first and second floor, but it's all going to collapse. So you need to have the foundation in order to support the advanced skills that you're going to be learning later. So in this class, for example, you're going to be thoroughly familiarized with the NASW Code of Ethics, with the values base. In social work, you're going to be introduced to what to do if you encounter an ethical dilemma, where you're faced with a practice situation that is demanding that you take some actions that really go against the Code of Ethics. So how do you reconcile that? And this course will introduce you to that. And then you're going to start learning the basics of how to communicate and establish rapport with clients, whether that client is an individual that you're working with or whether you're a COSA student and you're out in the community and you're trying to connect with citizens who are concerned about the quality of life in their neighborhood. You have to be able to connect with people. So you're going to learn basic communication skills. You're going to learn how to use empathy as an important tool for connecting with clients. You're going to learn how to conduct a multidimensional assessment of the client's situation. You're going to learn how to negotiate goals and formulate a contract. What a contract is basically an articulation of what you and the client are going to be working on together. You are going to learn how to carry those goals through, and then finally, when it's time to terminate the work that you're doing with the client. And then finally, how do you evaluate the quality of what you did? So that's the semester. Now, attached to that class is the 1-hour field seminar. So it's kind of a long class period because you have 3 hours for the generalist practice course followed by or preceded by the 1-hour field seminar. And the purpose of that seminar is to prepare you for beginning your first field placement in the middle of that semester. So it'll be covering a lot of content that will prepare you to be able to start that field placement, with knowledge already under your belt. And then the seminar continues while you're in placement and helps to, sort of keep that placement going, answer questions that you might have, do any additional preparation as you complete the first part of your placement in the fall. The second practice class that you'll be taking is Foundation of Practice with Diverse Populations. populations. In social work practice, regardless of what kind of practice that you do, you're going to be working with clients from many different backgrounds. In fact, the majority of your clients will be different from you in some way, whether it's culture, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, religion, values, socioeconomic status. And so what this class does is it teaches you about all these various areas of difference. But in addition to that, how to bridge differences in worldviews so that you can productively, sensitively, and relevantly connect with your client and meet their needs according to, their worldview and what they want as individuals. So that class sort of fits with the other practice class. Then you'll be taking human behavior in the social environment. And what this class, sort of the framework of this class is what Professor Coghill talked about earlier. That is the hallmark of the social work perspective, which is seeing the individual within the context of the environment. And this course will emphasize sort of normal human growth and development across the life cycle. So you have a basic understanding with diversity in consideration, how people develop over the life cycle, but also understand those aspects of the environment that affect that development. Then you're going to be taking social welfare. And what social welfare will teach you is the history and the philosophy of the social work profession. You have to know history to be able to understand the policies that guide our practice, to understand why our profession is constructed the way it is. And there was someone who said in the 10th century, and I should have the name in my head because I was just writing about him, but he was the first to say that if we don't understand history, we're doomed to repeat it, both the good and bad parts. And so this course will teach you about the history of social work and also the philosophy of social work and how that's evolved over time and where it is today. And then you will, those are your 4 foundation classes. You'll be doing your field placement, and then your last foundation class will be in the spring, okay? And you will be taking, and I don't have it here, maybe I had it in the previous slide. Okay, here I have it. Foundation research in the spring term. Now, sometimes when social work students hear the word research, they think, oh boy, I was one of those weird people that really liked the class, but research is important. Here's why. It used to be that we could make the argument that social work is a helping profession, that we're helpful, we're good people, and obviously what we do with our clients is valuable, and so therefore you should provide us with funding and other support. That doesn't cut it anymore. Both the federal and state government as well as foundations are basically saying, show us the data. If we're gonna fund you, if we're gonna support you, then you need to prove to us that what you do works. Now this is important, not just from an economic standpoint, but it's important for our clients as well. It's not good for our clients for us to continue to be doing work and engaging in strategies that either are harmful or not helpful. So today you'll hear a lot about evidence-based practice, and what that means basically is that data has been collected that shows that this particular intervention works with a particular population. And so you're going to learn in this particular course not how to conduct research, but how to understand research. Because one of the things that you're going to be doing once you graduate is you're going to continue to learn about practice. You're going to be continually learning new skills and keeping up your skills and honing them and advancing them. And that's what we call continuing education. And so you need to be able to know how to read a research article that reports findings about a new intervention or a new practice and be able to tell, is this a good article? Is this a solidly designed study? Should I take these results seriously? Should I use this in my own practice? So in this class, you're going to learn how to do that so that you become an informed practitioner. So that really completes your foundation curriculum, and now you're going to be moving into either direct practice or into community organization and social administration. Now those 2 branches have separate curriculums, but Professor Soska and I always suggest to our students that we take electives in the other curriculum. So I will often say to my direct practice students, take a COSA elective. Or Tracy says to his students, take a direct practice elective, because when you go out there, you never know what kind of hat you're going to wear. I worked for 11 years as what we used to call a psychiatric social worker, but the very first social work job I had was as a community organizer. So you never know, what you're going to be doing, so it's good to do that, just as a little tip. Okay, so the first required class for direct practice is Models of Intervention. And what Models of Intervention does is it builds on the foundation curriculum, especially the 2 practice classes, and it introduces to you a number of different approaches for working with clients. And these include cognitive behavioral approaches, systems approaches, psychodynamic approaches. It also touches on case management and crisis intervention, and essentially gives you a taste of a range of different approaches that you may use when you go out into practice. And then you have to think to yourself, well, which of the 3 main approaches, cognitive behavioral, systems, or psychodynamic, do I want to learn more about and develop more advanced skills? And you choose one of those for your second direct practice class, which is the advanced direct practice class. So you choose from the cognitive behavioral approach, the social systems approach, or the psychodynamic approach. Okay, so those are your 2 required classes. And then for direct practice, you have to take 2 direct practice skills electives of your choice. Now, if you're pursuing a certificate, because direct practice students have 4 electives to choose from, you typically will have to choose 2 electives from an approved list. So sometimes those 2 electives can also serve as these 2 skill electives, and then you have a couple of free electives that you can do something else with. Like you could take a COSA course, or you could take a general elective, or you could take a course in another department. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, with the foundation curriculum, you take human behavior in the social environment that talks about normal human growth and development. For your second level human behavior class, you will concentrate on a particular area of interest. Okay, so we have to offer children and families at risk, human behavior and mental health, human behavior health, and adult development and aging. And what these courses address are when there are challenges that clients present with in that particular area. So I'll speak to the mental health class simply because I taught it for many years. And what human behavior and mental health does is it talks about mental health problems and mental illness across the life cycle. So it's sort of similar to an abnormal psychology class, except it takes the social work perspective. Okay. So you'll be picking one of those, and it's at this point, when you register for your spring term, that you and your academic advisor have to decide whether you're going to pursue a certificate or not. Because if you are, then that choice will drive which of the second level human behavior classes you take. You took social welfare in the foundation curriculum. You take a second level social welfare course, which is a policy class, and again, focuses on a particular area of interest. So there's social policy and gerontology, health systems and public policy, mental health and public policy, and child and family policy. So if you're doing the certificate in children, youth, and families, for your second level human behavior, you'd take children and families at risk. For your second level policy class, you would take child and family policy. And you also have, as another requirement, you have to take a second level research class. So your foundation research taught you about research, how to understand it, how to read research studies, how to understand methodology. Now you have an opportunity to conduct research yourself. And most typically what students do is they will conduct a little project within their placement. So evaluative research teaches you skills for evaluating program effectiveness. Qualitative research is a particular approach where you gather rich data by interviewing individuals in detail about particular topics. And then single subject research is where you learn to evaluate your own practice. Is what I'm doing with this individual reaching those goals and achieving what we have planned to achieve, or a family or a small group. Okay, Now, here are the various direct practice certificates. As Professor Coghill mentioned, you do not have to choose a certificate. There are many students that may not know exactly where they want to focus their energies, and so they may take courses from a variety of different areas. Other students come in and they say, I know I want to work with older adults. I know I want to work in gerontology. And so they would pursue the gerontology certificate. Now, the first two, children, youth, and families, and mental health, those are internal certificates, meaning that there's a coordinated program of study. You receive a beautiful certificate that's suitable for framing, but it is, housed within the school. The Home and School Visitor Program is a program that is certified by the Pennsylvania Department of Education and essentially certifies you to be what we call a home and school visitor or a school social worker. And then the gerontology certificate is actually a university certificate. So it's established throughout the university. So these are choices that you have. Now, here are some examples of direct practice electives. I'm not going to talk about each of them, but you can see just based on the titles that they cover a range of topics. And we change these electives periodically depending upon what students are interested in and what's happening in the field. Here are examples of direct practice field practicum sites. Again, you can see that there's a wide variety of different options. And you're almost done, except you're going to take your LSW licensing exam if you're going to remain in Pennsylvania. And so students typically do that in their last semester. Then they will take their LCSW exam after 2 years of supervised postmaster's practice experience, and hooray, you're finished and it's graduation day. It literally goes that fast. I mean, when you start the program, you'll think, wow, I've got 2 whole years, I've got all these courses to take, and then bingo, you're done. It really does go fast, and then you're out in the world and you're a newly minted social worker and ready to go.